So let's do this Opeth list. Let's just get it out of the way right now. Opeth ranking. This one's going to be odd. This one's going to be strange in many ways, I have a feeling, because, well, I know I've said this before, and about a month ago I did a Catatonia ranking. Oh, Catatonia. And I was really solid on that list. I was really, I was confident. This one I'm not as confident about. But again, I came into Opeth in, I think, late 2019. So I heard it all at once. And I really think that gives you a different perspective of the albums if you do that. You know, again, not having all that history with an album, I think can change some things here and there. So, again, just my opinion, but here we go. I'm going to start off with my least favorite of the Opeth records. The two bottoms for me were easy, but I did flip them around several times, and I'm going with Morning Rise as my least favorite. To me, there are really long songs. Look, I'm a fan of progressive rock, progressive metal. Huge Rush fan. I have no fear of long songs. For me, though, I think some of those songs were really long and you didn't necessarily get the payoff for that length. Meaning that I think many of those could have easily been shaved down to 6 minutes and give you a harder impact, because some of them seem to drag on a bit for my own personal taste. And the same can be said with the next one, which is Orchid. Same type of thing. I just like some of the long songs on Orchid more than I like some of the long songs on Morning Rise. That's it. Now, next up is Sorceress. I really enjoy a lot of the newer Opeth. So when I finally came to a conclusion on my ranking, I was surprised that this one was this low. But there's a feel and a mood in this that I just don't quite get into. And I can't even put a finger on it myself what exactly is about that one that I've never been able to fully get behind, but there you go. It starts to get weird from here on out. Next up is going to be this one. This one's going to be a little bit controversial because I am going to go with Deliverance. Why Deliverance? The song Deliverance is great. I love that song. And there's a few others. To me, it's not solid all the way through. Just my opinion. That's why it's where it's at. I think that made sense. Okay. Next up, I'm going to go with I'm kind of making a little bit up of it as I go. My Arms Your Hearse. This one was tough. This one suffers from a little bit of the first two albums. The things that I don't like about this, they're still here in some regards, but to me the songs are much stronger. Win and the other one's Karma, and I'm blanking, but there are some songs here that I really do enjoy, and heavy as hell, and I really do enjoy that album quite a bit. But they have a lot of good albums, so that's where it is at. Next up, I'm going with, I don't want to miss any, and I'm afraid I'm going to, so let me look here. Pale Communion, I think, is next up. Pale Communion. This is one of those records where it's off and on for me. Sometimes I listen to it and I'm like, not really. Other times I listen to it and I'm like, what have I been missing? This has some great stuff on it. And it does. There is some fantastic music on there. This is just where I ended up putting it. After that, Still Life. I know there are a ton of fans of Still Life, and I'm a fan of the album too. It's got some great songs on it, but I like the rest of the stuff quite a bit more than I like Still Life. Next in line is, okay, do I dare do this? You're going to break your computer, you're going to break your phone, whatever you're listening to, if I do this thing that I'm thinking about. I'm considering doing it, and I'm going to. Blackwater Park. Yeah, Blackwater Park. There's some killer material on there, obviously. Bleak is fantastic. I love the song. And Blackwater Park, that song is so damn good. There's so much good music on here. But in my personal opinion, with my own personal taste and flavors, that's where it fits in for me. What is ahead of it then? Obviously, Heritage is ahead of it, which is crazy. I wouldn't have thought that a week ago. I was on a long car trip and I listened to all of these several times going to and coming back. And there's something about the darkness and the eerie, creepy kind of vibe and mood that album gives me. And I really enjoy that. Heritage is just, there's this thing that it's hard to say exactly what it is, but it's a feel. There's a feeling I get with that record. It's a little muddy sounding. It's very strange in some parts, but I really enjoy that record. Go figured. Next up, I'm going to go with Damnation. The only thing that does not put Damnation probably in the number one spot is there's no change of pace. Sometimes I like a little change of pace, and this is all kind of the same vibe going through the whole thing. It's a great vibe, don't get me wrong. Absolutely gorgeous songs all the way through it. There's nothing bad on that record, but that is why it's where it's at. Now, we're going to get to Watershed. Great, fantastic album. I think this one may be underrated. The two opening tracks, Coil and Heir Apparent, they just so good. The beauty of Coil and then just the dark heaviness of Heir Apparent. Absolutely love that album. So good. That one and this next one, I always kind of flip because I love them the same. And that is, of course, Ghost Reveries. Ghost Reveries has some of my favorite songs ever from Opeth. I absolutely adore this album. Up until probably a week ago, it was easily my number one. Why did it fall? Well, like I said, I listened to them all back to back, and that's why it fell. But Ghost Reveries is fantastic. I love it. It's so interesting. There is this exoticness to that record that kind of supersedes some of their previous material. I really enjoy that. But yet there's a directness as well to it that it hits you easily, and it doesn't take a lot of time. At least it didn't for me. And that leads me to my favorite Opeth record is their latest. How to explain this one to you, because nobody's going to understand this, I think. I know a lot of people liked it, but to put it above Blackwater Park and Ghost Reverie and Damnation, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing? I just think in the song construction on this album, just some of the layering, some of the vocal harmonies, some of the intricate details of this, I think the writing on this is next level. And I think it's some of the best vocal work. Michael's voice sounds just killer on this. There's a little difference that I'm hearing in his voice. You know, there's the growl, and then early on he did the cleans, but the cleans were not very confident. And I just feel that over time his cleans are getting more and more confident, and there's a little more grit in his clean on this album. And top to bottom, the songs are just mind bending in many ways. I love that record, and it took me till just last week to realize exactly how much I love this record. So go ahead and tear me apart, rip me to pieces. I know nobody else has this list. Or do you? I bet you don't, because this is a weird list. I mean, I got, other than the first, my bottom two, they're really kind of scattered and kind of don't make sense. Like, I love the newest one, but Pale Communion is way lower. What? They're similar in some ways, but there you go. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. See ya.